Hey everybody, Jorge here, reviewing Trevor Noah, Afraid of the Dark. Um, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars on the Netflix queue on the Netflix rating thing. I thought it was a 4 out of 5 performance. I thought that his delivery was good. His develop the way he develops the jokes are really good. Um, the impact of the jokes weren't that great though. It wasn't very like it wasn't very funny. Like the end result, like he would go off and like he would develop the joke, and then it just didn't get that funny, and I didn't think it was that funny. Like when he had good development, and it kept me entertained for the whole hour that the special lasted, and I saw it on Netflix, by the way. So yeah, I thought that he he would develop it, but then it just wouldn't really come out that strongly. It didn't come out strong. It didn't give that boom, that boom effect when you actually crack the joke. Uh, most of the jokes weren't, like this delivery, delivery fully like he would he would, as comedians do, they're very nuanced. So he kind of just like skirt around it, and I just kind of keep thinking about how comedians have a lot of they have a lot of like elbow room, so to speak, to talk about whatever the hell they want, and the reception of their work is is very it's a lot more lenient. The he doesn't really have to be as conscious of what he's saying. Uh, I like even though he kind of does I think he has healthy comedy. That's kind of what I want to get at. He has healthy comedy. I like even though it's not that funny, it's healthy, and I like that because uh, a lot of comedy isn't healthy for your soul. It really isn't. It isn't healthy for you. It's very detrimental towards your soul, really, and your mind and your personality, and because they kind of have this Trevor Noah is the host of the Daily Show, and he is kind of like a circle jerk towards like liberals in a way. And I hate to say it, he does bring on like conservative people onto his show. I saw this woman who this white woman who has like this internet show or something like that, and he brought her on, and uh, she and he his questions were like very justice, social justice oriented, and and it just wasn't that. And you could tell that he wasn't agreeing with her because of his party politic line, because of the party line, and and it was just that's why I kind of thought I kind of it's not that I don't mind that party line because I personally kind of align with a lot of those values, but when you feed it to me and it becomes biased, and I like for it to be all for the knowledge to be all encompassing, and there are times when he does that in the Daily Show. There are times where the appeal is a little more broader for me and for me to digest, and it's not so party line oriented. So there are times when the show does do that, but so I kind of say that because in this original special by Netflix, uh, on this stand-up show, he stand-up special, he has a lot of the description of the thing is the Daily Show host ponders the perils of naming countries, like how traffic lights. Oh, never mind. There's another description of it where he talks about supposedly sexism and not homophobia, but sexism, and I don't remember what else. The other isms, the other popular isms. And anyway, so he brings in that into the stand up. It's very ethic. It's very like questioning, uh, like this very, because he's South African pretty much, and it's because of that, because he's South African, and he he talks about these like questions about being black in America and being an immigrant in America. So xenophobia is one of them, and he talks about you know colonialism. That's another ism, by the way. So he talks about all those things, and I think it's because he's South African, and he's just very conscious and very aware of how colonialism has fucked up his country, and he talks about that, and he's very aware, and I don't think a lot of comedians do that. A lot of comedians just sort of talk, they blabber and blabber. Jeffries does that. Jim Jeffries, he as an Australian, he critiques American culture, but he doesn't really bring in his Australian perspective. He doesn't say in Australia things are this way, probably because he doesn't like Australia. We don't really know that, but I have a feeling that's probably why. Because when you're a comedian, you talk about yourself, and your experience informs your comedy, and that's probably why he keeps it to himself, because he has no problem critiquing American culture, no problem whatsoever. So he he can easily step in as an outside, and because he's a comedian, we as the audience grant him the right to say whatever the fuck he wants, and we won't give him shit for it. Whereas if somebody like a writer, if they say something even like marginally out of line, everybody's gonna go fucking nuts and ballistic, and they're gonna be like, this guy's a horrible person, unethical, his writing probably sucks, and it's probably very sexist and homophobic and all that. And I just think they don't give that leeway to writers, and they do give that leeway to comedians. So comedians have a lot of creative space to work with. And Trevor doesn't take advantage of that by any means. I think he's a brilliant comedian. I've seen his other stand up. I really like it. I like how he talks about his father. I think is partly German, so he speaks a little bit of German, and he does the voices. He does a German voice. He does there's this southern African dialect. He has a dialect where they're like, where they do that sound. I don't know what it is. This sound, and he makes fun of that, and he jokes about it, and he does that in this special as well. He has a lot of impersonations, but in this one it's about the Scottish and the English and the Indian, and how England went to and colonized India, and that he kind of reenacted by voicing two characters that were, one was an Indian and one was a British man, and they talk about the the conversation that they had when when India was gonna get colonized by England, and it was pretty funny. Um, I thought that, uh, yeah, he talked a little bit about New York. So this special is screened in New York, and he filled up the crowd. He's a very well known comic, and he's established himself as a prominent voice within the comedy realm, and he he sold out the crowd. He sold out the stadium and the auditorium, and people were laughing at everything he was saying. I think when you become that big, it actually gets a little easier to become a comedian, because you don't have to work as hard. I think it's easier for you to get a laugh out of people, because people want to laugh even more when you're in a big crowd. The crowd mentality takes over, and everybody just wants to laugh really hard. And when you're in a bigger auditorium and with a lot of people in it, that just gets amplified by like 1,000. So I just think it gets really easy for comedians to perform at that level. But at the same time, the negative of that is that it's easier for you to fail because, or if you're, it's, I think that they will, the crowd will really boo. You know, once you turn them off, you turn everybody off, and the whole energy, I think it gets taken away. It can get taken away very easily. So yeah, that's what I think about that. But Afraid of the Dark, I didn't really get why he said Afraid of the Dark. Maybe it's because of black people. I don't know. I don't understand what the name of the reference is. Maybe I should watch it again. But I don't think I will. I don't think it was that funny. Like I said, it wasn't that funny. His jokes, his impersonations were strong, but it lacked a certain specialness for it to be hilarious. And it wasn't hilarious. It was funny, but it wasn't hilarious. So that's my review. Thanks for watching.